Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I'm Travis Hopson of PunchdrunkCritics.com, and it's been a little while since we did a show. It's been almost 2 weeks. I've been really busy over the last couple of weeks. There's been some technical stuff, but I am back now, of course, for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I could not let this one slip away, of course. And joining me on this week's show to talk about it is my buddy, Matt Razak of Flixist and Escapist, soon to be ex-film critic. Just kidding. Nah, he's a film critic. My buddy Matt Razak, one of the few people I like around here. Welcome, homie. What's going on?
Hey, good, going well. Not quite.
Hey. Come on, man. You gotta bring more energy than that, man. What is that?
What?
You gotta bring more energy than that, man. What is that?
I was excited. I mean,
there you go, man. We're talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, man. How can you not be excited? I actually don't really know your opinion of the movie, like not in full. So this would be kind of interesting to find out how you feel about it. So
I mean, I'm a
jump into it right now. Just give me a second, man. We're gonna talk about it. So this is kind of, I think for a lot of people, this was the movie that we were looking at as like the centerpiece of this phase. Like this is the one that we were like, okay, this is the movie that's going to tell us everything about what's going on in this phase. And I don't know if this actually turns out to be that at all. It actually ends up being quite the self-contained story. Now, I mean, I think it does tease some things that could be going on in the future, but in general, it is, I think people are going to look at Spider-Man as possibly the movie that does that more than this movie does. But in any case, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, because I know people are going to be going to go see it tonight. But basically, Doctor Strange gets caught up in the multiverse of madness. Basically, he's trying to save America Chavez, a girl who can teleport through different worlds, different realities. And I won't say who the villain is, but there's an interesting take on a character in this movie that I think is going to be very controversial. I think when people see it, because it's quite a turn for this person. At least I think it is.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the more, or maybe the most divisive MCU films for a variety of reasons. That character turn, for sure. And then it's also, I think stylistically it is, and tonally, and just in its like approach to the universe, it feels different. It's a Sam Raimi film more than it is an MCU film, and Sam Raimi can be an acquired taste, right? So
it is absolutely true.
Yeah, I think you are correct. Like this is going to come out, and people are. I think it's going to be real polarizing. Dare I say, Last Jedi, right? Like you're either going to love it or hate it.
That's tough if it gets those kinds of callbacks.
Right.
The people around, but you're right though. The people around me who watched it, one liked it a lot, and one was like, kind of cheesy, isn't it? And I was like, I mean, it's a Sam Raimi movie. It is kind of, there are zombies in this movie, and they look like Evil Dead zombies, which they're not like the super touched up Marvel Studios,
Deadites. Excuse me.
Yeah, Deadites. But they look like that, and it's like they're not the super visual effects of
right.
you're accustomed to from Marvel Studios. They're more like, my cat is going nuts behind me. That you're used to, and people who don't know Sam Raimi, maybe, because there's probably going to be a lot of people who don't know Sam Raimi's work. He hasn't made a movie since 2013, and a lot of the movies before that, people who watch Marvel may not have seen, like the Evil Dead films and stuff like that. They may not know it. They may not know him. They might not even have known his Spider-Man stuff. The thing is, for me, this felt like those first two Spider-Man movies, which to me are like big embraces of comic book lore and like the fun and silliness of comic book movies, of comic books. And that's what made those first two movies really fun for me. And this one felt like that too. Now, does that mean it's perfect? No, it's not. There are some lulls in there for me. I think pretty much every time Doctor Strange and Master Mordo had a conversation, I got bored. Uh, but there's also some really big fun swings in it. The zombie-esque stuff we talked about just a second ago. Some of the travels through the multiverse are just really weird and fun and just strange. And there are a lot of big cameos in this too that I think are going to. I know now why Marvel was willing to give away the Charles Xavier thing the way they did. Like they did it. They just, it's not me spoiling anything. They gave that to you. It's like,
Yeah.
here's Xavier, and it's like, oh, okay. And that is a huge thing on its own, but there's a lot more.
Yeah.
In that scene in particular, there's a lot more.
There are so many more.
Like,
it's hard to talk about the movie.
It's kind of a fake. It's like, here, look at this.
Yeah. Right. I think Marvel did a lot of seeding. I think because there were just so many rumors and so many things, and they did for this one, I thought they did a really good job of like making you look at the hand over here while the other hand was doing the real thing.
Yeah.
It's almost, I was saying, it's almost tough to talk about the movie. There's so many cameos.
Super tough to talk about.
Right? And those cameos are so big, and like the twists are so right. So that is an interesting aspect. So I came out of it loving it. I'm a Raimi mark. I enjoy his campiness. I like even his direction style is campy, right? The off kilter camera angles, the first person, flying cams, and it's all Bruce Campbell. It's all in there, right? Sorry, that might have been I don't know if anyone was excited other than me about the Bruce Campbell cameo.
I think people expected that.
Yeah. And so, right, for me, that makes it really enjoyable. That comic booky feel. It's the first MCU film for me that was like, it's a comic book, right? Like they can be dumb, campy, stupid, ridiculous,
and scary,
and
scary,
right?
and comic books can
scary.
And this is, I think, legit the scariest Marvel film.
Yeah,
and I don't
it's
know,
by far the most violent
and very violent. There's a couple of like really shocking like deaths in this
horror movie deaths,
horror movie style of deaths.
Yeah.
And I don't know if parents are going to be prepared for that. That's one thing I'm curious about too, is seeing how because parents are just going to take their kids to it. Like they're not going to think about it. You're not going to expect it. And they're going to be like, oh, when they go see it. I mean, I don't know how they're going to react to that.
Yeah, another reason it will be divisive. The amount of debate around this one's going to be good. And for me, I kind of like that. Like, I almost think the MCU needs that. It needs that movie where people are like, I love it or I hate it, or like, and can be analyzed and pulled apart, where it's not like that codified feel of the rest of them, which I have always pushed against that argument that all the MCU films are the same and they're codified. But this one is like, it is the Sam Raimi film more than MCU. And that is, it's the only movie where the director's style outweighs the MCU style, I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think a few years ago, I think other than maybe like the James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which feel like James Gunn movies.
And maybe because that's established already, I feel like that is now part, right? Especially with Thor Ragnarok, where that kind of like humorous melding of comic books and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just with time that's become part of it.
Yeah.
This one in the now feels like a director's vision overrode the MCU's vision, and I was there for it.
Yeah, I mean, think about how different this movie would have been if Scott Derrickson had stuck around.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Not against Derrickson. I think he's a good director. I like him actually a lot. But this movie we wouldn't be talking about it the way we're talking about this one right now, for sure.
No, without a doubt.
He would have even done the horror stuff differently than Raimi. Like Raimi's is, it's got a little bit of silliness to it, but there's like my cat just knocked over something, toppled over out there.
As long as it's not the TV.
I just heard a mountain of something fall. And it is what it is. But no, there's a lot of like I would say it's like slasher-esque stuff going on in this.
Mhm.
There's a lot of like chasing around and like but yeah, it's Derrickson might have handled all that differently too.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think you would have got the performances that you get in this movie. I mean, so Elizabeth Olsen is like at 11 for this film, and like, yeah, right. And I think that's Raimi's direction.
Character.
Yeah. I think that's Raimi's direction. I think you get a heightened performance from everyone, because that's what Raimi's pulling out of it. He's going, I want big for this. This is a comic book. We're traveling through multiverses. I want all, I just want go huge, right? And that's what you get from nearly everyone.
What do you think about the introduction of America Chavez? What do you think about the actress whose name I can't pronounce, so I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. But what do you think about her? Because I like, in general, I like that character a lot in like the comics. And I like her here too, although at times she kind of felt like a walking plot device.
Yeah, she was basically a glowing suitcase. Yeah. at points, right? Yeah. The actress was great. The character could be cool, but it's not her movie, and she is definitely the plot device, right? She's the plot device to get Doctor Strange into the multiverse, which is fine for if she continues to be a plot device, right? And it, right, so even to the extent that like her powers weren't fully established, aside from jumping, like evidently being able to jump through universes also means you can use universe power to punch things really hard. Okay, right? It's very nebulous for her, but she's clearly going to be a key aspect of the MCU going forward. And what we know now from, what is it, 12 years of the MCU is that they don't consider a single film a point of character development, but the entire story arc. And so I think I think they got a great actress for her. I think she can be a really cool character. And I'm guessing Marvel's going to do that in the future.
Yeah, just waiting for that Young Avengers movie.
Yeah, right.
or my hope, a Young Avengers series. That's what I'd rather see that than a Young Avengers movie. But
yeah,
it'll probably be.
I thought her and Cumberbatch played off together really well too.
Yeah, Cumberbatch is good in this too. Yeah, Cumberbatch is. I think this is easy stuff for him. Doing this kind of playing Doctor Strange is simple for him. It's Olsen who kind of steals it, I think. I think she's just amazing in this. And the movie,
fantastic.
Yeah, the movie deals very heavily with motherly instinct and all that kind of stuff, and then she plays into Wanda's. As everybody knows, her heartbreak over her children is a key factor in everything she does, whether it was in WandaVision and also in this. And I don't think that's a spoiler either. I think people know that about her character. So, but she plays that very well. She's very good at it, and it's overwhelming in this movie too, and that's a good thing. It's a very interesting film for some characters here. I do kind of wish they would do like Wong, who I love Wong, and I love Benedict Wong who plays him, and he's technically the Sorcerer Supreme, but he doesn't act like it though.
No,
he's not doing the spells like a Sorcerer Supreme should be doing. Like, yeah, Little Strange gets all of those. I'm like,
right. Well, and I guess they've established in the plot that Wong is not technically as powerful a sorcerer as Strange, but you are 100% right.
He needs to give up that title then.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is within the character of the film. Let me see if I can say this without giving a spoiler. Within the character of the film, of this universe's Doctor Strange, it kind of makes sense that he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, because all those other Stranges we meet are, and they, right? Yeah, so that was useless for anyone who hadn't seen the movie, but like I do kind of but you were right. I think, I mean, he also loses the, right, he was the banter guy before, but with American Chavez, he kind of gets
I
pushed
mean,
to
he
the
gets.
side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. He kind of gets another thing to do in this.
Right.
Without giving that away, the Illuminati scene. Again, they've given the Illuminati stuff away, so I'm not spoiling anything.
Okay. Yeah.
The Illuminati. We won't tell you everybody who was in the Illuminati in this version of the Illuminati. Those who don't know who the Illuminati are, in the comics, they're basically this little cabal that manipulates events in the background. They're the ones who fired off the Hulk into space, so he lands on Sakaar and is off the planet because he's done too much damage or whatever. They just kind of jettison him off the planet. The Illuminati is behind a lot of major events that happen in the MCU, or at least they were. I don't think they still are, but that's just one. It's like one of those things that Marvel comes up with that sounds really cool, and they like love it for like a year, and then they drop it and they kind of forget about it.
Never to be mentioned again until the next major event.
If that, like sometimes they don't even do that, they just like leave them out. But I won't tell you who's in this version of the Illuminati, but there's some cool people in it. I love that scene, or at least certain parts of that scene. Like I said, anytime Strange and Mordo are chatting, I get bored. But it was especially pronounced in this part because there was so much other cool stuff going on in it. Like I think the best fight in the entire movie happens during the Illuminati scene.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
But yeah, it's an amazing fight between three characters. And every time I cut away from it, I was like, no, go back. Go back to the fight.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing. I understand why it's chopped up, but stop.
Yeah. Did you feel the same way, or what was your favorite fight in the movie without giving?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say so the opening star monster that probably has a name in the comics that I can't remember.
Yeah.
That was cool. Well
great.
done, but nothing really comes to that. Especially since, I mean, the concluding fight's less of a fight and more of a dramatic conclusion, I would say, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff going on there, but it's not.
The finale is one of the things that I think is going to be especially divisive.
Yeah.
Because there's a character in it that is like almost too corny.
Mm-hmm.
Almost too corny.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like, whether or not your mileage is seriously gonna vary with that part of it. You're gonna be like, okay. Now, if you're like me and you're just kind of rolling with it, it's fine. I'm fine with it. Well, other people are gonna be like, I think a lot of people who are less familiar with Raimi and his style and who are super committed to the way things normally go in Marvel are gonna dislike it.
I completely. It is. Yeah, if you can roll with the film, you're gonna like the film. But I'm not upset at someone who comes out of this movie and goes, "What was that?" Right? And right, I can completely understand that person. Yeah. But if you give yourself up to the comic bookiness of it all, I think you come out of that ending going, yeah, that was right on course for the whole film.
Yeah.
And going back to that Illuminati fight scene, like, it was just crazy good. Like, it used a bunch of really cool stuff. I mean, the violence comes back into play there, like actually showing some physical violence, not just like a cutaway or like rings knocking people back and then everyone just stands up again, right?
Yeah.
It is a fight.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the aspects of it that really worked, that it was a fight.
And what was really good about it? It was a scary fight too.
Yeah.
Because we knew the power that all those characters had.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one who was on the evil side, we knew that person's power for sure. And we knew everyone who was in that group was super powerful.
Yeah.
One we knew was deadly. And we were like, and that was kind of like the movie had done a really good job of establishing that character and how far they could go, because they're already over the edge. And it was like, this could end really badly. Like,
Right. Well,
it really
and
bad.
because
And
okay.
we had already seen something that they had already done. It's like, oh,
Right,
oh
and
crap.
I'm right. So it's, if this is too spoilery, just cut this out. But like,
Yeah.
and because it's in another universe, really bad things can happen without messing with
No,
the
serious
MCU. And so
repercussions.
there was
That's one of those
actual,
things. Yeah, that's one of those things I hate about multiverse style movies and comics. DC Comics does this shit all the time, and it's why I stopped reading like their alternate world stories. They're like Elseworld style stuff. I would stop reading them because it's too easy to just kill those characters because
Mhm.
there's no ramifications. It's like, hey, look, we just killed Superman, and
right,
it's like who cares,
right, yeah,
but it's easy to do that, when you've got these alternate versions of characters running around. I wish they'd
yeah.
stop doing it, honestly.
I think I'd say the difference here though is that because this is the first time,
Yeah.
I guess aside from Spider-Man, but because this is the first time, right, we're there,
Oh
it
yeah,
still has some impact, right?
it definitely still has some impact.
Um,
My impact from it comes more from the person doing the violence
yeah, that's true.
and less about the people who were taking the violence. Now that stuff was impressive too and shocking. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like you said, we haven't seen it done like that in the MCU before.
Mm-hmm.
And and good on Marvel for trusting Sam Raimi to do it. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna let a director do it, he'd be the guy to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. Like you probably wouldn't. I don't know who else you trust to do that with, or what movie you would trust to do that in. But this is the right one to do it because this is sort
Mm-hmm.
of like Marvel's version of a horror movie. And
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see. I know they're doing like some horror stuff coming up for like the Halloween special and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I
Well,
expect.
and I wonder if it'll trickle because they are right. We're getting Blade 2, and that darker side of the MC or Marvel Comics
Going into
is
like
kind of coming out. So
a Midnight Suns type event
yeah.
or something like that. I think is going to come out like
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Rider shows up and
Yeah.
because we know
I think it's
they can use him now.
Werewolf by Night. Is
Werewolf
that
by
it?
Night,
Yeah.
Blade, and yeah, and honestly, they could use Moon Knight if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of characters they got floating around that would fit nicely into something like that. I think that's what they're going to ultimately build up to, but they're kind of testing the waters to see how people are going to react to them. So yeah, I'm digging it. But I think this is going to be very interesting to see how it does at both critically and at the box office. Obviously it's going to win the box office this week and probably the next couple weeks, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of how like general audiences are going to deal with it, it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. But again, I think that especially in the MCU, which is it's established, right? You can have ups and downs, but it's not going anywhere yet. I think this kind of movie that's divisive will be a boon for it in the end, right? Will drive more people to be interested, not drive people away. So
very interesting.
We'll see. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that is our discussion of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I want to thank Matt Razak for joining me to talk about it. It comes out this weekend. It should be coming out tonight in most places. So you'll be able to see it early. I was tempted to go and see it again tonight, but I think I already got tickets for Sunday at the Uvar Hazy IMAX. So I'm gonna go see it on the giant screen. Because I think this is one of those movies that's kind of worth it to see on the big screen.
Yes, for sure. Without a doubt. Yeah, definitely see it on the big screen.
Yeah, this one that's good for that. So I'm gonna go and do that. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us on this episode of Cinema Royale. I'm Travis Hopson of PunchdrunkCritics.com. You can find me every day there. You can find us on social media, on Twitter at PDC Movies, and me at Punchy Critic. And of course, we're on Facebook. You can find Cinema Royale anywhere you get your podcasts and on YouTube. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. I will see you next time. Goodbye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.